Well, it is that time once again for another Squid Talk. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, I suppose it's my duty to explain them, and thus I shall. Basically, I started doing these videos because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about in videos, but they just weren't things that fit in a normal video. So essentially, what these are just me talking, no script, nothing, just me talking about something, and I sort of make them into like a weird, I don't know, you could call them like a pseudo podcast I get, where there's like no edit, it's just audio only, so open up your fucking RuneScape or Valorant or whatever, or just something in the back. I mean, it's like a auditory experience. Well, I say experience, but again, it is just me, some idiot talking. And what I really wanted to talk about today was just like my approach to YouTube, I guess. This isn't an update video. I don't have anything really to update people on, but I just wanted to talk about how I feel about YouTube. I did a video like this, and it was just, I never ended up posting it. I don't remember why. I just think it turned out too stupid or something, or I was just like ranting about one thing. I don't remember, but I didn't post it. I suppose we should talk about like my actual channel itself first. Honestly, something I've caught a lot of shit for, I think, is just my name, which is SquidTheCynic. And I will, first of all, the word cynic I've kind of wanted to drop, not because I'm afraid of people thinking of me as like a negative force. I mean, we'll get into that, but I'm truly like not, my core philosophy is not cynical at its core. Obviously, we're not talking like ancient cynicism. Of course, I'm not like that. I love worldly things. And I don't like what is the definition of cynic? It's like you don't believe that anyone is doing, like, you believe that people only do things out of self-interest or something. So it's not really the most fitting term, to be honest. So it's not that I'm like afraid to have the word. It's just that it's not very accurate. Because what I've always tried to do is just talk about things that I want to talk about, and also I've tried my best to just call out things that I think are bad or that I think need to be changed. And one thing I want to get out of the way immediately is that I have never made a video for the sole purpose of like, oh, I think this is going to get a lot of views. Now, in the past, I probably would have condemned people for doing that. I don't really care anymore. You know, you do YouTube how you want to. Like, if you want to be someone with no integrity who's just after numbers, but if that makes you happy, then go for it. For me, genuinely, I've always believed that the best way to get things to improve is to call them out and to criticize them. Like, I know a lot of people see me as a villain, right? And in fact, most people, probably everyone does. But I've never felt like that. I've never felt like I was being an asshole just to be an asshole. Like, genuinely, you can't improve unless you know what to improve upon. And the whole reason I started a YouTube channel, because obviously I didn't start one in the hopes of getting, big YouTube fame. I would have started one 7 years ago if that was what my goal was. I really started them because I was just so bored of seeing people who were just saying the same things over and over again, that everything was great, everything was perfect, because most things suck. Like, let's be honest here, most things are like average or below average. And it just so happened that anime was something that I really enjoyed talking about, and so that's like the main thing that I've been doing on my channel. I've never considered myself an anime-only channel. It's just that up till this point, that's really all I've made videos on, just purely coincidental. But I get it, right? Like, I'm different than everyone else in the space for the most part. Like, I'm sure there are similar channels to mine. In fact, it's pretty much at this point in life and where we are, it's almost guaranteed that anything you think or do will have been thought of or done before. But I don't know, people really just make me out to be a lot worse than I am. And I get it, right? I'm not completely ignorant to the woes of humankind. I get that, like, if you like something, having someone brutally call it out and not pull any punches is hard. I mean, it's hard to accept, it's hard to hear. There was a time long ago when I was still very immature, and there was like games that I liked, there was movies that I liked, things like that. And if anyone was saying bad things about them, I would get angry. And it took a long time for me to finally grow and realize that there's no point in me trying to defend companies and defend people. Like, Crunchyroll is a great example, right? I have no idea why people would defend Crunchyroll. It's literally a company whose only desire is to take money from you, And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's just how companies work. But so I don't condemn companies for that, but I would never defend a company like for no reason. I would never defend a company making a bad decision or try to justify it. Obviously, that's what happened. I mean, at this point, my channel has really become synonymous with like Tower. I think if you search SquidTheCynic, one of the first things that it recommends is like Tower of God. And that's a really good example of like, I don't know. It was so obvious that Crunchyroll fucked up, and yet people were defending it. And I called it out. I got so much shit for that. Like, not to complain or be to wallow in self-pity or whatever, but I mean, it's just been unending for months now. Just this unending wave of fucking hatred towards me. And on the one hand, I kind of like that. I mean, I don't enjoy it, right? No one enjoys waking up and having like a bunch of Discord DMs, people being like, "Hey, I wish you would just die," and having thousands of comments being like, you shouldn't have a YouTube channel." But at the same time, maybe it's better for me to be getting hate. I mean, it's like if I'm getting all this hate, maybe it means someone is getting less hate. So maybe there's something positive coming out of it. One thing that does come as a result of it, though, and I would describe it as not positive, is the fact that I've really, by willingly choosing the path that I have done, I mean, it's not like anyone forced me on this path, obviously, but because I'm different than a lot of other creators, in fact, like pretty much every other creator I've ever met so far, YouTube's really a lonely existence. I mean, it's cringe to say, I get it, but at the same time, it does kind of suck, right? Like, I have had a bunch of people ask, like, oh, you should say you should do a collab with this person. I've had people graciously ask me to do collabs with them, and pretty much every time my answer is no. And it sucks because it makes me seem like even more of an asshole, like, oh, I don't want to do a collab with you. But at the end of the day, I know that it's the best possible outcome is me saying no, because what happens if I say yes is that someone catches a lot of shit just for being associated with me at this point. Like a great example is, if you guys know, I'm a co-host on Kickback, and I'm always stuck in this weird mindset of like, I probably should just leave and not do the podcast anymore, because, I mean, since I joined, people are like much less excited about doing the episodes. It's harder to get people on, and I realize it's just because they don't want to be where I am, and I get it. I'm by no means blaming anyone. I totally understand it. I'm the last person you want to have any ties to when I fucking call out anime left and right and make people mad. So if you're ever someone who's wondered, like, why am I not doing collabs? Or if you're someone who's asked or suggested I do a collab with someone, there's the answer. Honestly, it's that most people I've met so far don't like me. I mean, I get it. Like I've been saying, I get it. Most people have decided before they've ever met me or talked to me in like Discord or whatever that I'm just a bad person. And I don't feel like I'm a bad person. I mean, like I said, I genuinely, whenever I talk about an anime or I criticize something, I truly do believe it's for the best. But a lot of other people don't see it like that. A lot of other people just think I'm toxic and that I hate anime, that to me is probably the most mind-blowing thing of all. Guys, I would not have spent out like days and days upon end editing videos about something if I just didn't like it. If I didn't like anime, you know what I would do is I would never watch it and I would never talk about it. But back to the whole being a lone wolf thing. It's been really weird because I see other people doing things, right? Like I see other people doing trends, having so much fun making videos together, and I want to do it as well, but I understand that I can't. And it wasn't a problem for a long time, but in the last like month or two, I've really been getting like weirdly more roped into communities of people who make videos. And I guess thank you to all the people who keep adding me to like all these different creator Discords and whatnot. I feel unworthy, but it's put me in a weird mood for YouTube where I want to do all these fun things and I want to try these new like video ideas, but at the same time, I'm not going to ask anyone to collab with me, right? Like, why would I? Because at the end of the day, they either say no, understandably, because they either dislike me, which is totally fine, or they just don't want to. They're like, no, it's not worth the risk of having my name associated with yours, which is also fine. Or they say yes, and now I'm horrified that something I could make the video with them and then a month later make a completely unrelated video, and now because of how people react when you make them mad, now all of a sudden a shit ton of hate is retroactively going towards other people. And I don't want to sound like I'm some like weird martyr and I'm only out for the greater good. Like, in a perfect world, no one would get any hate, and like I would agree that I'm probably not a very good person, so it's probably a good thing that it goes more towards me than other people. But it's not like I would desire that. I mean, I make jokes all the time about like, yeah, give me the dislikes, but I mean, at the end of the day, if I could have 100% like ratio on every video, obviously I would pick that. But like I said, if you're someone who's suggested collabs, just know that it's not that I'm like ignoring those or that I'm just writing them off. It's really that because of the way I've acted and the videos I've made, doing collabs like that was never really an option. I mean, shit, the podcast that I do, literally every week I'm faced with this decision of like, I need to just leave. Like, I need to leave and let people actually grow and like collab to their hearts. Like, it feels like I don't belong. I guess that really is like the core thing. It just, so far, everyone I've talked to, everything, it just feels like I don't belong. I can be in like a Discord call with like 5 other people who make videos, and more often than not, I'm the odd one out. And like, I just don't know, like, do I change my opinion? Do I start just pretending to like things so that people will like me? I feel like I would lose an important part of myself if I started doing that. And again, now that I'm saying this out loud, I realize my God, it sounds like I'm spending every waking minute just wallowing in self-pity. Really, it's not that big of a deal, right? It doesn't impact anyone else except me, and no one really cares about me. Maybe a few people, and I love you if you do. But I don't know, it's just something I've wanted to talk about, because I'm in this really weird state where, like, it's hard to make videos because I can't make videos with other people, and when people do invite me to make videos with them, it's like, no, I gotta decline because I'm not gonna fucking sully your reputation by just being near you. And then on top of that, I'll make videos that are just for fun. Like, I made that Killing Bites video that was just for fun. The video I just put out where I was doing Google Translate with quotes are just for fun. And then I know, now that I've made them, it's like, well, the second I make a video being like, hey guys, this anime is not that good, now I'm just going to get hit with like 1 million dislikes on all my videos. I mean, if you go look, well, I guess you can't look. I don't know if there's a feature for that, but if you go look, at a certain point, all the like ratios on my videos were great. And then I pissed off like an especially toxic subset of, it was probably the Tower of God community, and literally every video just got dislike bombed. So now you can go back, there's videos that were made months before I ever talked bad about Tower of God that just got fucking railed with dislikes. And I would really rather not inadvertently like force someone else to go through that, because then I like genuinely, then I would be a villain. And also I just realized this is not at all in any way a call out to literally anyone. There's no one that I feel any like animosity towards as a creator. Even if you've made a video literally just shit talking me for like 15 minutes straight, it's totally fine. It's, you know what, I accept it. I just realized that, like, especially since I brought up like Kickback, which is done with like RTL, literally everyone who I've interacted with for the most part has either treated me super well or has been mature enough to just be like, hey, I don't like you that much, and we don't like need to be friends because that's not how the world works. There's absolutely no creator I'm beefing with currently, as far as I know. I'm like totally chill with everyone, I think. When I bring up wanting to like leave Kickback, it has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. It's all me, 100% me. It's because I feel like just by being associated with something at this point, I bring it down, which I guess leads me into a mini update. I don't want to call it an update because it's not set in stone, but it's something I've been thinking about. And essentially, what I've been thinking about is just doing my best to do like a hard purge for other people. And like, what I mean by that is cut ties with everyone that I, like leave kickback, don't do any more videos like that, and also change the channel name so that way, things associated with SquidTheCynic in the past will basically be free and clear. That, I guess, is what I wanted to talk about. Honestly, I took a very long roundabout way of getting here, but that's what's been on my mind recently, is that I'm thinking about sort of going into putting myself in exile and changing the channel name and everything so that way I just am not impacting people negatively. Because honestly, this has become... I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, I am technically still human, and it's really been sort of weighing on my mind recently. Like, even when I'm going on Twitter and, like, I'm about to tweet someone, like, respond to someone's tweet, or, like, tweet a joke at someone, or whatever, I stop and think, and I'm like, wait, maybe it'd be the best for everyone if I just didn't get myself involved in this conversation. So, yeah, really, that's, like I said, that's what I've been thinking about. Basically just changing the channel name to something, probably still keeping Squid, because Squid's honestly just what I've always gone by. It was, when I first switched over to PC gaming, Squid was, I suppose that's a long story for another day, but basically Squid was like the auto-generated name I got, and I've just gone by Squid ever since. It's like, honestly, at this point, I'm just as comfortable as Squid, going as Squid, as I am, like, my real name. It basically has become like another real name for me. But I don't know, maybe dropping the cynic term, just Squid something or something Squid, different enough so that in the future, people won't be affected by like my past or the new name. That way they can sort of soft purge me without making it too... Because I get it, right? Like, people don't really want to be associated with me, but it's kind of cringe if they're just like do an outright purge. Like, that doesn't look good for anyone. So I figure it would be best if I gave everyone the opportunity to sort of just do it naturally without, raising any red flags or alerting people. But I don't know. I'd love to hear people's feedback, like potentially for a new channel name, something involving Squid. Probably nothing specific to anime, because while I haven't done it yet, I do have a bunch of video ideas that are not specifically anime related. But yeah, that's like basically what I want to talk about. I don't really know if there's much more I need to say about it. I suppose my final thought, and this is probably going to be pretty controversial, is that as much as we've gone forward on the internet as being like a very inclusive and safe community for everyone, what's kind of happened is we've gone a step too far, I think, where now, really, if you're different and you are in any way negative, you're seen as someone that needs to just be purged. Whereas I think the ideal internet would just be, as long as you're not being outright harmful, I think anything goes, really. I think that's the beauty of the internet. But if I had to come up with a closing statement, I suppose it would be, I get it. Believe me, I get it. I mean, as much as you guys hate me, I probably hate myself way more. I mean, if I didn't before, the whole self-hatred thing has gone way up since starting YouTube. I mean, Jesus, I really thought I was like a stronger person than I was, and I realized that I was a bitch like everybody else.